Welcome to LifeSpider Quest with Answers. This is the place where no questions are too big or too small. The place where we encourage you to embrace your ego, find all of your life purposes, and inspire you to follow your vivid visions so you can live a life in passion, peace, and performance. My name is Frida Cabo, and I'm excited to be here as the connection between your questions and the answers that comes up for Birgitta Granström. She is the founder of LifeSpider System and the leader of the international LifeSpider movement. We're both originally from Sweden, but now Birgitta lives in California and I'm here in New Zealand, coming to you online so you can listen and ask questions from wherever you are in the world. Welcome again to LifeSpider Quest with Answers. Let the quest begin. Hello, Birgitta. We're here again. How are you today?
Yes, I'm great. I'm still catching up from the ego evolution a little bit, but it feels great to be here. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a massive weekend.
It was.
So, yeah, we had the ego evolution last weekend. And would you like to explain a bit about what the ego evolution is?
Oh, good question. It's just easy. It was a 4-day summit event, just and we invited lots of speakers that have their life spider to explain how they are working with their ego. And the purpose of the ego evolution is to teach the world and people how they actually have can embrace and invite their ego and doing good in the world. So, and the best way of doing it, it's to let other people let them know how they have discovered their ego and actually integrate it in everything they are doing. So it was amazing stories, and I think everyone who listening to all those sessions have changed their mind about their own ego and are curious now to see, okay, what kind of ego do I have? I want to explore my ego as well. So it was amazing. It was an opening to something new, to make the future easier and better for humans.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we thought that it is a perfect opportunity to have this Life Spider Quest with Answers as an ego theme to it, to catch some of the questions that came up, but also to tie in with that, of course.
Yeah,
And
that's yeah. So
yeah,
I'm curious and see what kind of thoughts. I mean, the afterthoughts when you have gone through all the sessions and then you have your own thoughts. So I'm really curious and see what people are thinking about. So it was perfect, perfect, Frida. Perfect.
yeah. So, what is your definition of the ego?
The ego, I would say like this: the ego is all the sum of your what you say the personal characteristics. That's what's connected to your mind, to your emotions, and it's kind of an I would say it's kind you have kind of an ego DNA in you. I mean, it's the sum of all your characteristics. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. It's the what in the old psychology you call it the I. What's me, and so yeah, to make it easy, I would say that's what you experience like when you say I. That's your ego. It's something you have, you own, and you can never get rid of it, even if you try to. It's kind of you. If you are 5 feet tall, that's what you were supposed to be, not 6 feet. Kind of. This is the same, and that's why we have to discover and we have to look at it. What is it, and what's the part of your ego? The most
Yeah.
people have been suppressing it, learned learned to suppress it.
Yeah, because the ego has got a kind of a bad reputation. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Why is it bad to be who you are? That's
Yeah.
it. No, it's I have over the year and in the human evolution. From the beginning, everything was about to survive. But now, when we have gotten to a state where we know how to survive, where we it doesn't have the same function anymore, and the power structure needs to change. And so that's why it's kind of there is conflicts right now, because you are trying to tear down an old structure into society and uh, are going to build a new one. So that's why we have to learn, because the ego has another function in our society than it has several hundred or even thousand years ago. So
Yeah, it's
that's what I
changing, and that's why the ego evolution was so powerful as well, because we're really looking at these things that are about to change and are changing. So,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. So it's
So,
just to learn that there is a change going on, and human consciousness and the human behavior, it's need to change. So, and we have
mm,
to relearn. And some people are more into the change, others still resist and want to hold on to the old, and that's why we there is some conflicts. But we will overcome it with more and more people realize the ego is not a bad thing. So it's a culture. Yeah.
so if your ego has been squashed or boxed for a long time, how do we nurture it and let it flourish again in a positive way? Is the question we got.
It's a good question, and kind of the whole ego evolution. That's what it is about. So you have to at first just to asking this question is a good step, because that's kind of you acknowledge that there is an ego, and you are prepared to invite it, and you are also aware about that it has been suppressed and what you say, damaged or crushed, or I don't remember. And so the first step is to acknowledge. So, and to embrace the ego, you have to take it in tiny step, because you have this defense mechanism system around it that protect you, and you are not supposed to just go right through it too hard. So you have to I would say you can have some kind of a little conversation with your ego and say, it's okay, I want to listen to you. What do you want? What do you like? And if you can see there is a resistance to use it, okay, why is that? What kind of negative consequences has I experienced through my life that had made me to push the ego down? And you can so it's a good way to actually use your logical mind to embrace your ego, because your logical mind understands uh, the fact that some situation in life had made you to suppress your ego, and those circumstances has changed. So your brain understands, okay, so it's not the same conditions anymore. So that's why I have the right to embrace and invite my ego. So it's like all change. You have to admit and acknowledge and feel and know it's okay, and listen to other people who actually embrace the ego. Avoid those people who still uh, think that the ego is something bad. So just supply you with more information and with the logical mind. And from the logical thoughts, your emotions will change. So if you do it on your own, I think it's easier to go the way from the logic to the emotions. Are you working with some kind of a coach or a therapist or a life spider coach? It's faster to go the emotional way, but it's harder, and you need to be hold in a different way. But if you go, yeah, so studying and listen to other people, and then you will start to feel a good feeling about the ego, and this the bad feeling will convert into curiosity. And you have find when you have found the emotion of curiosity, you can go a little bit faster and explore it.
Yeah, so we have
Yeah.
an example of that. What if my ego wants to be heard and seen as an artist and I feel anxiety and like hiding? How can we come closer and let go of the distance between us?
Okay, that was a great question. And this, what's that you describe in this question is what most people experience when it comes to express their ego. because there is certain feelings like you want to hide, you are worried, you feel angst, and that's feelings that actually are there to protect your ego, because you somewhere in the life you have learned that that kind of the ego, and maybe you love to, if you are a singer or you were dancing and you did it all the time as a kid, and your parents and your big brothers and sisters say, be quiet, do you have to do this again, or do that in your room, and you get all those rejection when you try to become an artist, and you learn that okay, it's better to be quiet, I am not supposed to sing, and that's why. So, and as long as you feel hiding, you will never become an artist. So I think that's the, this question is really good, because that's you have a realization, you are aware that there is a connection with those feelings and to express your ego. So that this is a good step. So I think already by asking this question, this person have started to feel something different, that maybe it's possible for you to become an artist. So
Yeah.
that's the first. Yeah, okay, sorry for that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it was really interesting to observe myself and all the other speakers at the ego evolution as well, and sometimes seeing that the ego was hiding a bit, and especially for me. But seeing, observing that in the talks, but also before and after, like, yeah, it's interesting. And when we become aware of it, we can observe it. So yeah,
Exactly, because the ego takes all the opportunities, because when you become aware about it, it means that the ego has been heard.
yeah,
Uh, so, and when it's been heard, it starts to be louder and give you more signs that, okay, maybe you should do this. So the next step is to maybe relate. And I think in this stage, or in this part of the process, I think it's a really good thing to start to use your brain or your logical thoughts, because your logical mind can see the connection between why you are hiding and what you want, and your brain can let you know that there is no mom or big brothers and sisters that reject you anymore, and you can remember that you actually were good, but you can at the same time understand those people, because if you were trying to sing all the time, maybe they actually wanted to have some quiet and peace in the house, so it wasn't actually you they were rejected, it was just it was too much noise. And when you start to see the logical reason for why you have built this hiding position around your ego, it will be easier to take the next step. And the next step is to provide you with a longing. So you maybe can start to picture yourself, for if you want to sing or dance or paint, I mean art can be lots of things, and you can remember the feeling, how you felt when you were a kid, for example, how much you like doing it. You can start to do the performance in front of the mirror. You can actually let your ego know, okay, I like doing this, and let's do this together. So let's practice, start to get used to it. And when you start doing that, you will see things will happen. You will bump into people or articles or videos or something that will nurture your ego even more. And then so you take one step at a time.
yeah,
So, and I think to use the logical mind, it's a better and easier, smoother way if you try to embrace your ego with by yourself. So when you work with a coach or a LifeSpider coach or someone else, you can go straight to the emotions. It's kind of a shorter way, but it's more painful, and you need maybe someone who is taking care of you. But if you want to have it in a, don't feel that much emotional pain, the brain is actually really, really good tool for the ego, because the ego and the brain really understand each other.
yeah. That's great, and to use the power of our minds. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And we have another question on the same theme. What if my, let's see, and I think this is someone who has the spider, but I think it's a great question anyway. When I go into my intention and let the ego join in, there is a power that I hardly can steer. I can feel an anger coming up and not a small one. What happens? It makes me scared.
Yeah, it's creepy if you are used to just, I mean, if you have an engine this big and suddenly, I mean, it's like riding a bike or a car with a small engine, and then you put yourself in the sports car and put on the gas pedal too fast, too soon if you're not used to it. I mean, it's scary. And it can go wrong if you put the gas pedal in the bottom right away and you don't have check what kind of road are you at, are there other cars around, and where are you going. So even here it's start to allow the power. I mean, put yourself in the car and know I'm going to ride this car and I will have the gas pedal in the bottom, but I have to kind of adjust myself to the power. So it's just to know, yeah, you are jumping into a powerful car and you have to start driving maybe slowly, but not change the car. I think that's the thing. But get used to it little by little, and then suddenly you know how to drive it. And that's what's happened. You can see it many times in people who just discover their ego, and the ego goes crazy. I mean, this is kind of an baby cow that's out in the grass for the first time. They go crazy and they don't care about anything. So they are I mean, bump into things. They are driving over people or kick them or whatever. But that's just the happiness and the freedom feeling. So it in time it will adjust. So let it play around for a little bit as well. So
Yeah, and yeah, I think yeah, and if you really get scared of it, just as you say, you can start on the practicing track. Like you don't have to go out on the highway straight away if you don't want to.
no.
So, yeah,
Mm. And I mean that's to be afraid of certain thing is actually that's a good thing. It's more I would that kind of fear is actually connected to your surviving fears. So that's a good fear uh, to have because it protects you for a little bit, but you know it will not take over all the time. You can, I mean, there is what you say a balanced fear, so you don't let the fear take over and say, okay, I don't want that car. I will go back to my bicycle instead.
and it's also amazing to feel that you have that power. You have that power within you. So yeah, exciting to just start letting it out bit by bit and see what happens. Wow.
Exactly, yeah, and it's a fun ride, even if it
Mm,
can be a hell of a one, but it's fun.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, time flies. So already our last question,
Okay,
and I
wow.
think you will like this
Hmm.
one. How can I be ego without being narcissistic?
Uh, if your ego is a narcissist, you cannot.
Yeah,
I mean, then you have to be narcissist, and but here it's. I think I can actually relate to one of the session in the ego evolution when I had a talk with April, and she has a dictator, and she explains it really well. She loves her dictator, and she gave some example of the Hitler, the Stalin. I mean, some of those that we, I mean, this the ugly thing that's happened in the world. But she said it's not about the person or what they did, but it's the characteristics of the dictator, and it's the same for the narcissist. If you remove all the values and judgment, what actually characteristics, behaviors do a narcissist have? Because if you just pick them out, and that's the power you are going to use, and you never have to be afraid that you should be bad to other people because you have it connected to a certain mission that always want to do good. And the only people who feel that you are a bad narcissist is those who actually get triggered because they probably have a narcissist in themselves that they are not allowed getting out. So it's kind of when someone is triggered and call you, oh, you are a narcissist. It's probably because they their own ego is crying to, oh, yeah, I want to get out too. I want to be more like you.
Yeah.
So no, they are going together. So the ego is the narcissist, and that's why you have to learn everything about the narcissist and see and use the behavior, and then see, okay, how useful are this narcissist when I'm going to fulfill my life purpose. So that's the thing. The narcissist knows where to go and what to do, so it's occupied with good stuff. So it doesn't have to bother other people in the wrong situation in the wrong way.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's a great example. For me, it's also about boundaries. Like people are used to you not setting your boundaries or not taking care of you, but when you start doing that, it can be they are not used to you doing it either, so they can react on that.
Yes, absolutely, you're right. Because it's good that you say when you are start to embrace your ego, you get boundaries. You don't let allow people to push you around anymore, and that can be creepy for other people in your surroundings because they have built your relationship is built on their identity comparison to yours, and if you change, they are threatened. So a good point. But the ones who I would say the people you really want to have in your life, those people who really likes you and love you, they will stick with you. It's those others you will be happy that they disappear. So that's
Yeah, when
becomes
I
a
start
natural selection.
yeah, when I started the process, I had such a lovely comment from my husband. I asked if he thought that I had changed, and he said, "No, I think you're more of you." And
Oh,
I'm like, oh, okay.
exactly.
That's how
Oh,
I
that's
felt as well.
so nice.
Yeah,
That's sweet. Yeah. And
yeah.
that's what the people who's really you can rely on and you like and you love and you want to have them, they will react as your husband.
Is that an
Yeah.
animal?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a cat. It was not a goat.
Good. Great.
I thought they were outside everyone. I try to keep close all the doors, but sometimes they are living their own life. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
so interesting to talk about the ego, and I could go on, but I know that we will keep on talking about these things in the ego evolution, and that will continue in the Facebook group. I will put the link here as well.
Yes.
Um, so, any wrapping up words from you, Birgitta?
No, I think I would say that everyone should go and listen to all the sessions in the Facebook group because you can do it is protect you. You do it with yourself. You have your own journey, your own experience, and so I think that's the absolutely right now the best way to start to get to know your ego, and you have a great community in there, and that will help you with questions and everything is you're allowed to say anything and. So it's a good space to be in if you want to explore your ego.
Mm.
Actually,
Yeah, I agree, and it is so powerful to actually look at those driving forces and embrace all parts of you. So
yes, exactly. It's amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone becomes just better and more of themselves, and I like that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week.
we do so. Thank you, Frida. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Hey.
Thank you very much for joining this week's episode of LifeSpider Quest with Answers. Um, as I said, I'm going to post the link to the ego evolution here underneath, and I hope you will join us there as well. Keep asking questions. They are important to open up and expand. And if you want to ask more questions to us, it will help others to hear them as well. So I will post a link to that in the comments. Or if you want to post the question in the comments, that's totally fine. Thank you very much for today. And remember to embrace your ego. See you next week. Bye.